I was called the refrigerator that knows how to code. And then the whole company had to bow their heads and apologize. They didn't need to call me stupid. They just laughed behind my back. They said I didn't fit the startup picture. They said I should write meal management software instead of security technology. But today they're begging me to bring back the company they kicked me out of because I was too fat to be a leader. I entered Titan Tech, filled with immense excitement. My heart was pounding. Finally, I was working at a top-tier tech company where I could build something I believed would change the cybersecurity industry Sentinel Shield. But then, as soon as I walked through the door, I heard a voice behind me. Hey, is the kitchen hiring? The group sitting nearby burst into laughter. I froze. I pretended not to hear, but my heart sank. I told myself, never mind, don't pay attention. I'm here to work, not to be a model. HR led me to my seat. They looked at me and muttered, the company chairs probably can't hold you. Let me get you a sturdier one. I smiled awkwardly. My face was burning. My throat was tight. On my first day, I walked in and chose the seat at the end of the table. As soon as I sat down, I heard someone whisper, "Oh my God, is that table going to break?" I turned away. I didn't say anything. But my heart sank. I hadn't said a word. I hadn't written a single line of code. But they had already decided I was a joke. I started work. No one said much to me after the first day. They didn't invite me to lunch. They didn't invite me to join the team bonding group chat. No one asked me what part of Sentinel Shield I was working on. I was practically invisible, except for the few times they stared at me when I brought my lunch to heat up. Once I had just taken my lunchbox out of the kitchen when I heard someone behind me say, "Are you going to eat that again?" I saw her eating cake earlier. I froze. I didn't turn around. I didn't say anything. I felt like I was surplus. But I didn't come here to be friends with them. I came here to create something wonderful. So I worked day and night, weekends included. Sentinel Shield gradually expanded. I wrote thousands of lines of code. I was the only one who could build the core engine, the part that, if missing, would cause the entire system to crash. Then came the product branding meeting. Brandon sat at the head of the table and asked, "Who has an idea for the name of this system?" I raised my hand, nervous but confident. Sentinel Shield, because it's like a guardian warning and protecting before danger strikes. The room fell silent for a few seconds. Then Lana, an intern, who'd only been there for 3 weeks, burst out laughing. "Sounds like a Marvel game," someone else joked. "If we're going with inspiration, we should call it Fridge Guard. It protects the refrigerator." Everyone laughed. The whole room. I sat there trying to hold back tears. Brandon didn't defend me. He just said, "Never mind, let Lana do the demo slide. She looks younger and more stage-worthy. Jay, you just focus on the back end." Back end, I wrote the entire system. Yet all I was deemed capable of was sitting behind the scenes. I nodded, no reaction. But in my head, I had only one thought. Okay, laugh, but don't regret it. I thought, after all, as long as I do a good job, things will change. They don't have to like me. They just have to recognize my abilities. But I was wrong. So naive. 3 months after the branding meeting, Sentinel Shield officially passed its final security test. The system could detect, analyze, and neutralize a simulated attack in less than 6 seconds. and I knew it was ready. No one else could accomplish that task, except for me. I submitted the complete report. I submitted the complete report, including the core structure, the AI's deep learning optimization, everything. And then, out of nowhere, my name disappeared from all internal documents. The presentation slide reads, Lana D. Strategy and Product Vision, Brandon Holt, Project Leadership. No Maya Lin. There was no mention of Maya Lin. There was not a single word in the text. I immediately emailed Rachel Brandon's assistant. She replied casually, Brandon wants to maintain a more balanced leadership image. It aligns with the brand positioning. Balanced? What does that mean? Was I not slender enough, fair-skinned enough, or attractive enough? I was furious. I demanded to meet Brandon. And then I got a schedule. An unexpected meeting the next afternoon. I arrived. Brandon was sitting with Andrea, the company lawyer. He looked at me and smiled indifferently. Maya, you have made an important contribution, but according to Clause 14(3), everything you developed at Titan Tech belongs to the company. I was speechless. He continued, You will receive a bonus of $300,000 and you will no longer be employed here as of today. I clenched my hands. My heart was beating so fast I felt dizzy. Why, I asked. Brandon shrugged, not looking me in the eye. Maya, you're smart, but no one wants an image like that representing Titan Tech. We're going public. Market perception is important. Could you envision such an image? I understand. This body. The body I spent 18 months in a lab to create something that the entire company is now sitting on and profiting from. And they're kicking me out because I don't fit their image. Brandon clapped his hands. Security entered. They'll help you pack your things. I hope you leave quietly. Quietly, I looked him straight in the eye. Quietly, I sneered, sure, but don't expect it to last. I left the company like any other employee who had been kicked out onto the street. But no one knew that inside Sentinel Shield, there was a small piece of software, very small, counting down. 3 days after I was gently removed, Titan Tech held its biggest demo ever. The event introduced Sentinel Shield, the system I had poured my blood tears and years of solitude into creating. I wasn't invited. Of course not. I sat at home in my pajamas, hugging a bowl of cold cereal, and turned on the live stream to watch. On stage, Brandon stepped out in a shiny grey suit. The lights shone on his face. He spoke loudly and confidently. Sentinel Shield is the biggest breakthrough in cybersecurity. It is led by a talented, strategic and image-conscious team. The room erupted in applause. I smiled wryly. Then Lana took the stage. The slides I had designed, the sequence I had laid out now in the hands of someone who couldn't write a single for loop. I looked at the clock. 9:10 a.m. In the original code, I had planted a trigger. This line of code is innocuous unless the system operates without my authorization. 9:12 a.m. On stage, Lana was demonstrating the intrusion detection feature. Just then, the entire screen went black. A red message popped up. Unauthorized override detected developer authorization. Missing. The audience was in an uproar. A second later, system reports started pouring in, unauthorized access from user B. Holt. Timestamp 02:41 a.m. Document modified Sentinel Core v2 Pot AI. Violation source code plagiarism. No attribution to the original author. Internal behavior details indicate that a key developer was removed from the project. Every computer in the auditorium received a 47-page PDF report automatically sent from the very system they were presenting. The investors were in an uproar. One person exclaimed, "Brandon, what the hell is going on?" Brandon stood frozen. Lana turned pale. A panicked engineer ran onto the stage. "It can't be stopped. The Titan Tech identification system is an internal threat." I sat at home. I continued to enjoy my cold cereal, laughing, relaxed, gloating, but silent. It wasn't time to show up yet. Let them swim in that pile of data. That night, while I was reading, the phone rang. No number. I picked up. The voice on the other end sounded like they'd swallowed their tongue. "Maya." "It's me, Rachel. Brandon wants to see you right away. The system is completely down. It won't restart. The investors are demanding a withdrawal." I was silent for a few seconds, then asked, my voice steady, "Oh, are you sure? I thought I was laid off for inappropriate images." Rachel was silent. I hung up. No rush. I took a shower. I ate. I picked out the nicest outfit I had. For the first time in months, I applied eyeliner, lightly. 30 minutes later, I walked into Titan Tech. The entire building was silent. The office lights were on, but no one spoke. It felt like a funeral. Brandon was waiting in the conference room. He jumped to his feet when he saw me. "Maya, please. You know the system better than anyone. Can you help us fix it?" I didn't sit down. I looked him straight in the eyes. "Help. Like the way you helped me leave." Brandon exhaled. For the first time, he wasn't arrogant. "All right. What do you want?" I sat down, pulled out a contract. I gently placed it on the table. My name, in the place where it belongs. I spoke slowly. "I'm the developer of Sentinel Shield. I want to be recognized as a co-founder. I hold 51% ownership. I am the CTO. You will publicly apologize to me in front of the media, correct?" "Clear." Brandon clenched his jaw. He said nothing. But after a few seconds, he nodded. I took a small USB drive out of my pocket and placed it on the table. "This is the recovery update, but it only works if the system recognizes me as the primary authenticator." He trembled as he took it. I stood up and grabbed my bag. Before walking out the door, I turned back. "Oh, Brandon, never forget those who laughed at me. Now live off my brain." 3 months later, while the tech world was still scrambling to find a solution to the series of cyber attacks targeting international banks, Sentinel Shield, the system that had nearly been stolen, that had been stripped of its name from its creator, did the unimaginable. It detected the threat in 4.2 seconds. It neutralized all security vulnerabilities before hackers could penetrate deeper into the global payment system. The estimated losses of $340 million were reduced to zero. On that day, no one mentioned Brandon Holt. No one looked for Lana. No one asked what Titan Tech had done. They only spoke of one name, Maya Lin. On the cover of the special edition of Forbes magazine, Maya Lin, The woman once mocked for her appearance, once excluded from the product she created. And now, the person the world can't live without. The accompanying photo was not photoshopped. No ball gown, no S-curve. Just Maya, sitting in front of a screen holding a cup of coffee. A half smile on her face, as if to say, "I told you so." In an interview, when asked what the secret to her success was, she just smiled and said, "I didn't try to change myself to fit the market. I created a new market, one where I am the center." From a coding refrigerator, Maya Lin became a woman who rewrote the rules of the tech world, not with her looks or the approval of others, but with something that silenced all the haters' intelligence and resilience. I didn't return to Titan Tech to seek revenge. I returned to reclaim my name and then move forward. I no longer hold a grudge against them. The act of mocking me, ridiculing me, and belittling me no longer causes me the same pain as it once did. I have learned that when you recognize your own worth, no one can take it away from you unless you allow them to. I didn't lose weight. I didn't undergo cosmetic surgery. I didn't Photoshop my magazine cover. I kept everything they used to criticize me. Not to challenge them, but to remind myself I was hurt. But I didn't give up. I used it to grow. Now when someone texts me and asks Maya, "How did you endure through all that?" I usually respond with a basic answer. Don't try to make yourself small enough to fit into other people's eyes. Be so big that they can't ignore you. Remember, you're not alone if you've ever experienced ridicule, hurt, or expulsion from something you've created. And you don't need to retaliate with bitterness. Respond with success, with intelligence, and by stepping onto the stage as your authentic self, unedited, unapologetic.